Welcome back, fellas. Give yourself a pat on the back for clicking on this video, for expanding your palette. I know that my transition videos aren't super popular. I don't expect this one to get as many views as a video about kickflips or tray flips. Everyone wants to be a flat ground wizard. Everyone's gangster until there's a quarter pipe at the end of the street course. I think it's good to expand what you know and start doing some more transition and stuff just to get more familiar. I think it makes skateboarding more fun. But anyway, we're going over the backside disaster today. Pretty simple quarter pipe trick, probably a little bit more advanced than rock to fakies and rock and rolls. I wouldn't set up too crazy for this one. It's nothing out of the ordinary. I would really just make sure that you have a pretty wide stance and that you have your toes hanging off on the back, similar to, let's say, a big spin or a tray flip. And the reason for that is that you want to have the toes help guide the board around as you're rotating. It's kind of easy for the back foot to slip off if you don't have a good solid stance on it. And I think having the toes off is what really helps prevent that. Again, for the front foot, it's important to have the 2 feet spread apart because you're eventually gonna need to lean on the nose on this trick. But you'll notice that I'm approaching the quarter pipe with a very subtle wind up of the arms, and that's what kind of helps throw the body into that backside position. You don't have to ollie. In fact, you don't have to even scrape a small little ollie. I like to do so sometimes just because it's more fun. I'm used to really popping the board. So especially on more shallow transition, you can give it a slight little scoop if you want, or you can just turn yourself into it. One thing that's okay to do is, if you're first learning this trick, you're probably gonna slam down the back wheels on the deck, and that's okay. But over time, when you get better at this trick, you're gonna spend less time on the deck and more time just slapping it down and bringing it right back in. You don't want to spend too much time on a lip trick, which is funny because in the video games, you know, you rack up more points for the longer you hold the trick, but in actual skateboarding, that's kind of frowned upon. So it's okay if you're learning how to really slam yourself down on the deck and just really get into a disaster stall. But as time goes on, you want to spend less time on the deck. So in most cases, I don't really touch my back wheels. You can if you want. It just makes it easier to go in and out if you don't rest on the deck. But if exiting this trick, as I'm about to show here, is a problem for you, you might want to try just doing the second half of it. In other words, just putting your board down on the deck as if you were already in the disaster stall, just standing on it and then going back in. The second half of this trick is probably the most challenging part, is really getting over the fear, kind of like how you would for a rock to fakie, except you're doing it with the nose this time. You start leaning back into the transition, your front wheels finally touch the transition, and then you really press down on the nose to lift up the back truck so that it clears the coping, and then you finally set all 4 wheels down and you just ride down the ramp. So you can get used to that by doing only the second half of this trick. If that's what you need to kind of get over that fear, I would recommend just doing that, you know, just standing on the board, leaning forward and just pressing down on the nose real quick to get those back trucks over the coping, and just work on that until you get comfortable with it. Now, some people might be afraid of hanging up, and I don't think that's really going to be a problem unless you're dealing with a quarter pipe that has coping that's really, really sticking out. Otherwise, if you have a quarter pipe that's made like it should be, right, without the coping sticking out way too much, it's not going to be a problem. But either way, start small, as I always say. Get used to the second half of the trick, you know, break it down as much as you need to in order to familiarize yourself with it, and then you can start taking it on bigger and bigger quarter pipes. So that's really the backside disaster. Just set up with the toes hanging off on the back end, wide stance, wind up a little bit, You can either get a small little pop in there or just turn yourself into it. Get used to kind of doing that motion and landing on the deck. If you feel more comfortable just going in and out as soon as you learn this trick, great. Just know that as time goes on, you should probably kind of speed up the pace a little bit. Get used to the second half of really coming back into the transition. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, you can try what I said about kind of dropping in using that form. And that's about it. That's really the essence of a backside disaster. So let me know what other transition tricks you guys want me to cover. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I will see you guys next time.